All right, we're here to talk about this Starfall hilt. This is a take on a High Republic Fallen Order, I guess, hilt from Nick. And I assume that with all of the gold and layered accents, but clearly with the double shroud, we're getting kind of the look of the Cal Kestis / whatever his master's name is. I'm blanking right now. So let's hop down to the table. We'll talk about what went on with the install. We'll go over the internals. We'll show a few things with button functionality, but we'll hop back out. I'll keep this blade in, and then we'll go over a few more button functions and how to use the saber. But I have a printout for the owner for anything that I don't cover in this video. So appreciate you checking it out. And yeah, let's go into some details. All right, so let's talk about this Starfall hilt. Obviously, take on the Jedi Fallen Order. So we are sporting a Shadowfoil neopixel PCB for the emitter. We have a KR dual tactile. The left side is your activation. The right side, here, let's do this facing the camera. Left side is power, right side's aux. This will illuminate and do different things in on and off states. So to get to everything, we have a provided Allen key. This does work for both your blade retention up top and then your grip retention right here. This screw right here is for the neopixel holder. So thankfully it's not the same size as this, but just know don't ever mess with that one. So yeah, so to get to everything, we just undo the grip here. I do already have a battery in place, but it's in the off state. So we can take our grip off, set that to the side. Here we've got the custom chassis that I designed. It's a press fit. Do be mindful though when you are taking the battery in and out that the spring side negative is towards the speaker, and so you'll be pulling away from the chassis. So what I like to do is either get my thumb in there or a tool, or you can sort of bang it there. But yeah, so just be mindful when you're taking it in and out not to pull too hard, because this is just press fit. And there's a little bit of glue so that it holds over time. Speaking of glue holding over time, right now the Proffie is also just a press fit into the chassis. So you can get to everything as is if you have a 90-degree cable or tweezers to pull your SD card out. But over time, if you're lifting it up because you don't have a cable, then the friction fit will wear out, and so you'll want to put E6000 in there. So this does sport a Proffie V2, provided 18650 battery. Let's go ahead and take this out here with the retention thing here. So we can see with the Starfall logo in the battery tray, positive and negative clearly identified, but just remember that spring side's your negative. Down here's your kill switch, and then when the battery's in place, you can kind of keep everything together. Do have a marble crystal chamber. This will also do different things in the on and off state. For the most part though, the crystal and the blade colors will match for each preset. So again, I'm gonna kind of I'm gripping the chassis with my extra fingers as I'm pushing the spring to put the battery in place. So, and then we can hit our kill switch, get our boot sound, so you can see that switch blinking, a random blink, and then we have a pulsing in the crystal chamber. For the most part, most of the presets will do some sort of pulsing, could be a blink. We do have a 28mm KR bass speaker, so it's plenty loud and definitely a lot louder with the grip on. But we can go ahead and hit activation here. Okay. So we got our emitter lighting like it should. I do have a test blade here, so we can put that in real quick. See that light up. This takes a 7/8 diameter neopixel blade, and it is programmed for a 32-inch length. The config is on the SD card, so you know you'll need to do. If you want to do any edits, you can either copy the config, do your edits, and then upload with Arduino, or you can, just add fonts on the SD card and rename some stuff. I have a printout for anything I'm not going to cover here in this demo. And so that'll cover most of the functionality in terms of button commands and stuff like that. But with regard to programming, I'm going to leave that up to you. This does support the Starfall sound font package, 8 fonts. And the last preset is a battery level indicator. To move forward in the presets, when the blade is off, you hit Aux. To move backwards, you can point the hilt down and hit Aux. So let's go to our battery indicator here real quick.
Battery level.
So on the crystal and on the switch, it's going to go from green to red. So it's fully, well, almost fully charged right now. I'm not sure how much it actually is. But if we put a blade in, and it's not going to show because I just have a short little test blade here. At the end of the blade, you'll have a little bubble. And then as the battery depletes, that bubble will move down towards the hilt. And again, it will still go from like a green to a red, just like these neopixel accents will. So again, to move forward, and then we do have gesture control. So we have a twist on and a twist off. We also have a thrust on, which is a forward or a pull, and I'll demonstrate that with the blade in here in a second. Yeah, so to start the track, we have 2 different modes. We have track player mode, which will happen if you're just basically not pointing the hilt upright. So if we hold power for 1 second, we'll get into track player mode. And so what will happen is it's going to start playing all the tracks that are on the SD card in the tracks folder. But if you rotate the hilt, it'll move to the next track. And if you go back, it'll go to the previous track, just in alphabetical order. If you want to keep playing that track, you'll hit power. And so now I can swing it around and it won't change fonts on me. And then we'll just hold power to turn it off. Now I've preset a track for each, I have assigned a track for each preset. And the way to do that is to have the blade pointing up. So now we've got, automatically jumps into that. That will also happen if you have the blade in, but you have to be vertical with the hilt. So that's track player mode. And yeah, so keep moving. I'll just show off a couple things here with the crystal and then the pixel switch. So these are kind of doing similar things on these presets.
Hero's Journey.
I think on this preset, I did a little bit of different color variation, so I'm not sure if that's showing up on camera, but it's going from a blue to a green, and then when we ignite it, it blinks green and red. So, and then, so this one does a pulse, a sequence. And then it has a pulse. This is a fire blade. Ruin is the only one that has a preon. I'll demonstrate this with the blade in, but the only way to get the preon is to activate the power button.
Reconcile.
Gesture controls will bypass that. So here we have a different color. And then in the switch, oops. It's a little bit different color, but in the on state, it matches the blade color, which is a gold. So yeah, so when we're ready to use the saber, we'll put the grip on. You can sort of see a little mark here, but basically you just want to align all of the set screws when you get your grip on. And you take the provided Allen key and you just cinch that down. You don't need to over tighten, just that's good enough. And now we're ready to start. So we got a good resonance here at the pommel. So now it's way louder. So aux for blaster blocks, clashes, right? And then you can hold for lockups. But if you gesture on, you'll get into battle mode. Here, let's actually put this demo blade in so we can sort of see this as well. When you do put a blade in, just be mindful. You can let gravity do the trick here. You don't have to press down on it. I'm sorry, I don't have that off camera. I'm a little bit cramped for space here. But I'm not pushing this in. I just have gravity doing the work. And then if I'm ever concerned I don't have it right, you can ignite the saber and then put it back in and cinch it down. So again, we got blaster blocks, clashes, twist off, all right, so just the reverse of that when we're ready to set this. Oh, I didn't mention, but both the accent pixel here in the switch and the crystal chamber itself, if you do nothing, if you turn the saber on, but you kind of just leave it on a stand, after 10 minutes, those will time out and turn off. Now, Proffie doesn't have a deep sleep yet. This is sporting OS 7. I'll let you learn how to do that, all the features with OS 7, but there's a link here at the end of this printout, and that'll take you to a resource for the prop file that I used. But yeah, so just know that in the when you've got this kind of on the shelf, after 10 minutes, that'll go off. It'll need a button press to wake it up, but when we're ready, you can hit the kill switch and either leave the battery in, or if you want to take it out to charge it, you can do that. And that's your saber. Okay, so I went over a few things with button commands, but just to recap real quick, left side on our pixel switch here is activation, right side's aux. With the blade off, aux will move forward through the presets, except when we point the hilt down, we'll go backwards through the presets. And then similarly, if we hold power to start our track player, with the hilt kind of just in any old fashion, we'll get into track player mode. But if we're vertical, we'll get into the assigned track that I assigned for each preset. So let's do that real quick. So track player again, hold for a second. You'll get that little sound that lets you know you're in track player mode. And if we rotate to the right, we'll move forward alphabetically. But if we move back to the left, we'll go backwards. And then if we want to keep playing whatever we've selected, hold power or just tap power for a second. Now we can move around, ignite the saber. And then to turn the track off when the saber is on, or when the blade is on, we have to be vertical. So again, we just hold it for a second. With the blade on, if we don't already have the track playing, we're only going to be able to get to our assigned track. So this one's a little bit of a quiet one. So we started in track player mode, but now that the saber is on, we can only play the assigned track. So again, that's how to do that. You'll just notice I did gesture controls as well, twist on and twist off. We also have thrust on, which is a kind of a horizontal, either a push or a pull. So let me demonstrate that real quick. And so now we're in battle mode. So either with twist on or thrust on, we'll start in battle mode. Battle mode just means lockups don't require you to hold the button. So if we clash the saber, we're going to stay in a lockup if we're not moving our hilt wildly. So we can see that going until we pull the saber away. Now, a melt will just be when we're sideways and we also clash the saber. Okay. You can rotate it for a little bit, change the colors up. And then the longer we hold it, the more active it gets. And so we pull away. And then similarly, if we're pointing the hilt down, I gotta watch for my ceiling fan here. If we're pointing the hilt down and we clash, we'll get our drag. So those may change colors or activity depending on which font or preset you're on. So we'll move to another track here. I'm sorry, another preset. So I mentioned down below, Ruin is the only one of the Starfall font collection that has a preon. So those gesture controls will bypass the preon. So the only way to get it is to hit the button. And then you'll notice we do have little windows here, so you'll be able to see it a lot better. But when we activate, we'll get kind of a quick animation and then our ignition. So let's see if we can show that real quick. Okay. And this is a kind of a unstable slash flames. Got that 28mm speaker really blasting. And then, however, if we twist on, we're not going to get that. It's going to go to the ignition. So that's the only preset that will happen.
Reconcile.
Okay. So one thing to mention, a lot of the commands I've mentioned so far with the track player is that you'll hold the power button for a second. When the blade is on, if you're in any other orientation other than vertical, you'll do a force effect or a quote, depending on what font you're on. It may have a mix of the two. So to do that, let me just demonstrate real quick. And I've animated the blade style to change for force effects. So if we hold it for a second. So this one had a sound effect, and you can sort of see it goes to an unstable blade, sort of like Ruin was. And then now we just have our regular flicker. Let me actually go backwards.
Hero's Journey.
You can see that better in green. This also only has force effects. I don't think it has any quotes. So again, if I'm upright, I'm going to start the track. I hold power for a second. But if I'm sideways or any other orientation, I'll get the force effect, which is accompanied by either a sound effect or a quote. So to do color change, let's turn that back on. We're going to hold aux and tap power. Okay, so there was our sound effect. That was holding aux and tapping power.
Red,
and
orange, red.
And I do have it
orange,
announcing.
Orange, gold, yellow, green, aquamarine, cyan.
And then if we want to accept it, we'll hit power. If we want to revert, we'll hit aux. So I'm going to revert real quick.
Revert.
Okay, so now it's back to green. Again, that button command is hold aux, tap power. Okay, so we have that little sound effect. And then now
Red.
We'll rotate to select our color, and then to accept its power. And now it's writing to the card for the first time. I haven't done anything since I programmed it, so it took a second there to think. And then if I turn the hilt off, it remembers red. Okay. But if we go back forward.
Hero's Journey.
So normally this is green, but now we've changed it to red. So it's got save state. So I'm going to change that back real quick.
Aquamarine, green.
And now we have it saved. So that's color change. Now when the saber is off, or I should say when the blade is off, that button command is an on-demand battery level indicator. So it will tell you a percentage.
Battery level, 86%.
So again, that command is hold aux, tap power. And it can be a little difficult to do that with these two squunched together. But if you have kind of a wide thumb, you can sort of get that going, or you can just put your two fingers together and do that. One more thing I wanted to mention with color change is the corn horn sound font, which now we're on. This is the only one that will not let you color change regularly like we just demonstrated. This is what's called color change direct, and will just alternate between white and a light purple. And again, that comes along with the lore behind the character and the font and the book I, Jedi. So that's why Nick wanted this program this way. So we started up, we got our speeder sound, because again, this is kind of like a speeder bike sound effect for corn horn. And this is sort of a silverish white, but what I've done here to kind of let you know is on the on state, it's a purplish color. So when we do our color change, it just jumps to purple. So you can sort of see that, and hopefully the ambient light reflects that this is a light purple, but in the camera, it's gonna be kind of washed out. So yeah, that's just this font. All the rest of them you can color change as you wish. And then the last one, like I said down below,
Battery level
is a battery level indicator. Now again, this takes a 7/8 diameter blade, and I programmed it for a 32-inch length. And so the further out this is, the more charged. Now, we did an on-demand and it gave us a percentage, but that can sort of fluctuate depending on the draw of the saber itself. So this is kind of just an average, and then over time it will come down here. Now it starts out at green, kind of, or maybe bluish, and then kind of goes to green, yellow, down to red. And again, on our accent pixels, both on the switch and in the crystal chamber, if you don't have a blade in, that will also go from green to red to let you know how much charge that it is. But again, if you want to know right off the bat, you can hit that button command.
Battery level 86%.
And then now you know for sure. So that's your saber. Let me know if you have any questions. Hope you enjoy it. Nick did a really cool job with this. I think this is a fantastic looking hilt. So I'm going to wrap this up now, take some pictures, and then hopefully get this uploaded tonight. Thanks.